Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome to the show, everybody. And we are here to create the adventure of our lifetime because we've got a great guest for you today. And so, Brachelle, do you have your piece of paper and pencil to take some notes today?
Of course, and always.
There's a quiz at the end.
Yes, it's great to see you, Brachelle. I'm going to even have you introduce our guest. Can we do that?
Oh, I would love to. Today we have the pleasure of being with Ophir Adar. He is with Real Momentum. There is so many ways that he's collaborating with people and helping with sales and bettering your life and following your journey. So welcome, Ophir, and how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. First of all, it's great to see you guys again. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me. I love being around people with positive mindsets, right? Because that's the end all be all. And I'm so excited that you guys are having me back.
Well, and the big thing about that is it all comes down to a positive mindset. When I was a district sales manager, I used to tell a sales guy, I said, "Are you prepared? Are you ready to go do this cold call?" And if they said, "No, I'm not really, I don't really," go home and don't come back until you're ready. And they go, "What? Huh?" And but I said, there's no point in you going in there if you're not going to be sold on what you're doing and you're not going to do it with enthusiasm and stuff. So and that's what your course teaches people, especially in real estate, but it really translates into everything. As a matter of fact, shall we show the slides now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
My favorite thing in the world. Because this
Hold
is
on. We're going to skip several slides, but I don't have the technology to take them out, and so we're just going to skip them. But
slide 5. There we go. Oh, you skipped them already. There you go. There you go. This is the basis of life, right? And so it's interesting because we've talked about this before, the three of us, and I started in real estate in Los Angeles in the Sunset Strip in 2002. I was 30 years old, and yet I was not confident as a human being. I'm a very different person now. When you see me, I couldn't walk and talk and chew gum at the same time. So what I had to figure out at the time was, how can I go out and do these things that are supposedly there to build your business, whether it's pick up a phone and call people, knock on a door, build relationships, when I had a negative mindset. And that's what life comes down to, right? Whatever you're thinking about in your mindset, whatever you're focused on in your mindset is what? It's whatever you find outside. So when we're looking at this NLP model of communication, NLP means neuro-linguistic programming, and it's about the mind-body connection. And we look at it and we have 2 million bits of information. Let's go to the next slide because it's easier to see.
Got it. Here we go.
So there we go. So we got 2 million bits of information coming at us at all times, and we only process 126 bits out of that 2 million. So what are the 126 bits that we process? It's whatever our unconscious mind is looking for. So if I'm in sales and I feel like buyers are liars and sellers are cheats, which is some of the vernacular and old real estate days, right? I'm bringing back old school real estate. Then that's what I'm going to see out there. That's what I'm going to find everywhere I look. And when I started feeding my mind positive things, which is the basis of my coaching and my book, which is Feed Your White Wolf, everything changed for me. Everything that I was seeing, everything that I was looking for shifted, and I immediately started to create success for myself. And so the question is, what are people feeding into their mind? other than positive talk radio, which is always positive, right? What
We'd
are the
like to
people?
think, yes.
What are people feeding into their mind? And what I share with people is, listen, everybody else will feed your dark wolf. They will feed you negative things all day long. So make sure that all you're doing is feeding yourself positive things and feeding your white wolf.
And why is it, in your opinion, why is it that people do that? Is it because it's ego driven and they want to bring you down to their level, or they're I'm just trying to put sense into your head?
That's the people that tell you they're realists, right? I'm just a realist.
I love you, honey, but I'm just a realist and you suck at sales.
Right?
Yes, it's the be realistic. Well, what even is that?
This is beautiful what Rochelle just said, because what's realistic is whatever you can think of. And so if you're thinking of it's reality, I'm going to fail, then you're going to fail. If you're
Yeah.
thinking it's reality that I'm going to have so many opportunities to succeed in front of me, and every chance I get, I'm going to talk to people, then all you see are opportunities. And so, yeah, Kevin, what were you going to say?
Oh no, I was just going to say I had a sales manager that was conducting a sales class like what you do, and only not as good, because what he wasn't as gifted as you are with NLP and everything that you do, but he said, if you walk into a place and and your mindset is I can't, you won't.
That's it.
Kevin, I have to speak on that because when I was in figure skating, if I ever said that, every time I said the word I can't, being cannot do something, my coach would make me do a lap around the rink. And I was so stubborn and so built into my ways of not understanding what she meant that I'm literally spending an hour of my dad's money, 60, I mean, it's $1 a minute, $60, and all you see is me out there doing laps. And my dad comes out, he's like, why is she doing laps? And she said, because she needs to understand the basic principle of saying whether she can or cannot do something. And when that switched in my mind, I became something I thought I never could. And I'm pretty sure, Ofer, you get to work with people every day and see them kind of just burst out of their bubble, right?
It's so beautifully said. Like, it's so true and so amazing, and absolutely. I mean, it's the basis of whether people succeed or not. Are you focused on succeeding, or are you focused on failing? And most people are focused on failing, and it's not that it's their fault. Kevin, you asked, where does this come from? It just comes from patterns that are created and habits that are created when we're younger. And what we don't realize is, as we get older, we just think this is the way it is, right? This is what happened. This is how I developed. Here's where I'm at. And transformation is the easiest thing in the world. You just have to consciously think about it and make some steps and actions to get you there. And so that's what it comes down to is are you stuck in that? Do you believe that that's just the way existence is, or do you believe that you have control and you can change everything?
Well, Kevin,
Oh,
I would love to follow up with that. If I can tell you just a real quick, simplified version of what I'm trying to say, because I really want your input in it and how you put that. I love using the pictures, right? And trying to understand the story. So when I was figure skating, going back to that, I think of how many times I would go into a jump and I put my hands down. And I would fall every single time because my brain was already assuming like you have to be prepared to catch your fall. How do you help people not only stop preparing for the fall, but being focused on succeeding rather
Succeeding.
than failing at something? Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful thing. It's repetition, right? I mean, you had repetition to get to the point where you saw things negatively, right? We all had
Right.
that. We had that repetition. It's the repetition of feeding yourself positive things and looking at things in a different perspective. So we talk about two things. One is reframing how you look at things, right, Kevin?
yep.
We just talked about that earlier. Reframing is everything. You're either looking at a glass as half full or half empty at any time. And I say, I'm at a point in my life that I only see a glass full. I don't even see half empty or half full, right? I only see a glass full because it's repetition. It's practice. That's all it is. And Berchelle, you know, I've known you for a little bit now. I've already seen transformation in you in the 6 months to a year that I've known you from all the things that you're doing.
Well, thank you. And that's awesome. And thank you for working with people to understand that just because what we've known to be comfortable with, we have the option to also change that. I mean, even at my age, I was like, what do you mean I have control?
Right? What do you mean that this is just who I am, right? I don't have
Yeah.
control of my life. I can't dictate how it is.
Well,
Yeah.
and Ophir, if I can tell that story that I told you beforehand, just real quick. And years ago, I was in a network marketing company, and we had a mentor that was helping us, and we would get on a call, and he would tell us, "Okay, you got to do this. I want you to do this, and do this, and do this." And so we would go out and we would try and do it, and we'd have the call the next day, and we would all collectively say, "Oh man, this is hard. How do you do this? This is not easy. We can't. We won't. I feel uncomfortable. I can't do it." And so we worked on it for a month or so, and he kept on pounding that in. And one of the gals came back one day and said, "This is simple. I can do this. This makes perfect sense to me. I can make this happen." And and the rest of us are going, "Oh man, it's tough. I don't know if I can do this. Talking to people and doing, I don't know." And she was like, "Oh, stop it. It's easy. I can do this. It's simple. It's." And all of us, the four of us that were also in that besides her, dropped out of the company eventually. She is now a multimillionaire in that company.
Hey, go girl.
Right?
Because it was simple.
Never
She
let
understood
anything
it.
stop you.
And she made the fundamental shift of, I'm not bothering people, I'm helping people.
Mm.
That was my fundamental shift that changed everything for me. Instead of thinking I was a smarmy salesperson that's bothering people and trying to get business from them, right? Instead of thinking all those things, I realized that if they're not working with me, they might end up with a really bad real estate agent who doesn't care about them, who just wants a commission off of them. And I wanted to support them and help them. So I made it my mission to get in front of as many people as possible. And my favorite quote is by Henry Ford, because it's that simple. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yes.
That's it. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that's what it comes down to.
Every positive motivational speaker will use that quote and will say those things, but there has to be something else to back that up, because so many people would just say, "Oh yeah, okay, I heard that before." And here we go again. But you have got systems in place to back it up so that you can help these people get over their insecurities.
I believe that a combination of some self-directed study with group coaching and group accountability is the most powerful thing in the world. And I've seen by far the most massive results out of it, because we all think we're unique individuals that have our own problems that nobody else has. And at the end of the day, we all share the same things, right? The same things that hold us back, the same things that, limit our beliefs, right? Limiting beliefs is one of the biggest things that prevent success. And so when you start to work on changing those things, reframing this is what we work on, reframing how you're looking at it, changing the things that you're looking at, right? And starting to listen to really powerful stuff like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and so many others that I recommend, then you start having positive talk radio all day long in your head.
Yeah.
Have you been in my head? How do you know that?
Kevin, it's obvious that you in the crib you had positive talk radio going.
It's amazing that you said that. My grandmother used to tell me that when I was in the crib and I would be hanging over the side, just looking at everybody, and she would pick me up and say, "Hi, how you doing?" Put me down, and I'd say, "Hi, see you next time." And it would just be, would always be smiling and always be happy. So, but it can, for me, it was kind of natural, but it can be taught, and that's what you do.
Yeah, it's not only can it be taught, but it can be taught within 90 days, because we create habits in 60 to 90 days, right? So when you start creating different neural pathways and connecting different neural pathways, for example, we do role play every morning at 7:30, right? When you start getting into the habits of success, then everything starts to change.
And I'll bet you had guys that said, wait a minute, it's 7:30. You want me to be here at 7:30, ready to rock and
That would
roll?
have been me.
They all say that. And by the end of the first week, they're all like, this is the most incredible thing ever, because I don't have an opportunity to have structure like this, right? I don't have an opportunity to be accountable, to hit my numbers on a weekly basis and have a group that supports me mentally. And it's such a group dynamic, and energy is everything, right? That you're feeding off of positive energy.
Well, and I could imagine how powerful it really is, and it comes down to the long run, because not only are you willing to teach, but they're willing to learn. And when you're willing to learn something, you see results. So it really is.
Who is this person, and what has she done with Rochelle?
I don't know. She's
beautiful.
She's like a little sponge. She just keeps on absorbing all of the things. And speaking of which, I'm going to ask you both to stand by while we absorb this commercial break. We'll be.
Yes.
How about that? That's pretty good. We'll be right back. At 67 years young, I never thought I'd feel this good again. But thanks to Purium's Ultimate Transformation Lifestyle, to date, I've lost 37 pounds and gained energy, confidence, and a whole new outlook on life. This isn't a diet. Purium is a complete lifestyle change, giving me all the natural, organic, nutrition-packed superfoods that fuel my body, crush my cravings, and help me burn fat naturally without starving myself. No gimmicks, no guesswork, just a simple, proven system that works. Superfood shakes, detox support, and real results. If I can do this at 67, imagine what you can do. It's your time to feel better, look better, and live better with Purium. Let's do it now, and let's do it together. Go to www.positivetalkradio.net and click on the Transform You to get started. That's positivetalkradio.net. Transform you. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald and Rochelle, who I'm going to have to change the whole. You're going to make me change the whole dang opening, Rochelle. Whatever your name is.
No, it's okay, Kevin. More that you say, hey, this isn't about us. This is about our guest. And today it's about Ophir and teaching people how they can be great, especially in business, because I think that's important, especially when you get to a certain age,
I wish I had taught her to do that, but she did that all by herself. That's pretty flippin' amazing, I do have to say.
Comes from the heart now, Kevin, not my head.
That's so beautifully said. I mean, I can experience the difference. You're going to be inspiration. You already are an inspirational speaker, right? You're going to motivate and inspire a lot of people. You know why? Because you're walking the walk, because you're doing these things to transform yourself. Yeah, and that's the number one.
I'm living it.
Right? That's the number one rule of leadership, is lead by example.
Well, and I love how you say that, because it's like, you get to lead people and that are willing to learn. Kevin gets to lead me and getting to meet people like you. And really, I'm open to learning. I mean, the amount of things that I've learned in the last year, I told Kevin, I see how they say why when you get older, time goes by so fast, because I don't know where the last year went. But I'm very proud of it. And I'm so excited to see what comes. When you start to see the reward building, you're like, oh my gosh, okay, so what's next? And I'm pretty sure you work with people every day and they're like, oh my gosh, Ophir, I get what you mean.
It's incredible. The transformation happens within 2 months. The first 30 days, once we get rid of all the baggage and BS, then they're excited to talk to people and actually support people, and they're excited. They're like, my friends wanted to hear from me. I'm like, oh, really? You thought they didn't want to hear from you?
Yeah.
First thing that you get taught is nobody wants to talk to you, and don't bother your friends and family. It's like they'll see you coming and they'll start running the other way.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily true.
First of all, if they want to run the other way, then get rid of them, right? Because they're not the people that are there to support you. And the ones that are there to support you will support you to the ends of the earth. We just mind read that they don't want to support us.
And any great salesman will tell you, anybody who is out talking to people and somebody says no, which is the thing that we're all scared about, is they're going to reject me. They're going to say no to me, and I can't handle rejection today. So, but if you just say, great, have a great day, who's next?
Yeah. And I say no is the beginning of the conversation. It's the beginning of it.
Yeah.
You want to get to that no, because that's the salesman blockage that they have. And as soon as you can get past that, then you can actually have a real conversation with people.
Build a relationship.
Oh, I just thought of something.
I was like, oh, that's my name. You called me.
From the last show that we did, and she made a great point. Take no, N-O, to K-N-O-W.
Yep.
I love that.
It's the no is the now.
Yeah. And you don't know what you don't know until you find out, right? And that's why when you actually build rapport with people and talk to them, and then they'll open up to you. But for the most part, people aren't being taught that. So all they're doing is trying to get a sale or a commission.
Very true.
Ophir, I gotta tell you this. There is and I'm really passionate about this. There is a perception out there when you're going to go talk to somebody about selling something in sales, that, okay, you go to do MailChimp and you get all of these emails, and then you do a newsletter, and then you send it out to all these people, and somebody's going to respond to you. That's not necessarily true. Most people don't even open the email and read the newsletter. It's still, in my mind, and I love your opinion on this.
Yes.
In my mind, it is now, it was then, it will always be a relationship building business.
Absolutely. And the things that you're talking about go amazing in combination with talking to people. See, people have taken it and substituted it. So what we call in real estate, they drip on them, right? They'll send them stuff all day long, but they'll never communicate with them. And it's why the people that are willing to do that will, I don't want to say crush it, but they will have a massive amount of business, especially in 2025 and 26. We're headed into a market where it's literally going to make the top real estate and salespeople all around the country. Because when the market goes down, you need really good people to succeed, right? And really good salespeople to sell your property. When the market's hot, anybody can sell it. That's why discount brokerages show up when the market's hot and disappear when the market's not.
Yes. And I have to speak on that because I'm about to head out myself. And thank you for having me for this time. But Ophir, I wanted to get your opinion on this. One thing that I have been acquiring to say, a lot of times it was like, growing up, you're too much of this, you're too much of that, be quiet, sit down, don't talk, go somewhere else, there's all these things. And now I've acquired this quote that I tell people is, if I'm too much, then go find less. And would you say that that fits into really, like, if you were to look at yourself in the mirror and say that and realize how much you are worth, maybe it would take away the negatives of it? Like, just wondering what you think of that.
I appreciate everything that you're saying. My question is this, is that, do you think there are a lot of people who are going to tell you you're too much, or is that mostly mind reading? Because that's what people do, right? They mind.
You just turned it back on me, and I have never experienced that.
Yeah,
you got me.
We do it a lot. We all mind read, right? We're like, this is what the result's going to be. So why even bother doing it if you already know what the result's going to be?
Right. Well, I think to myself, maybe the question to ask, rather than to tell other people that, is to ask myself, which I would challenge anybody to do, because I've shared that a few times, is now look inside myself and say, what about you is too much? And why why is it that way, really? Because if somebody wants to be less than, well, go ahead. Like, I mean, that's your path and
Rochelle,
you can
there is
choose that. But
nothing about you that's too much.
okay, well, good.
No, that's
I
the
mean, if
beauty.
you're around me for long enough, you might say
Oh,
different.
wow. No, but that's the beauty, right? We tend to think that we're all going to be the same, right? Like everybody's different. I could come across as aggressive. I'm Israeli from New York. Of course, I can come across as aggressive, right? But you're never
Right.
going to come across as aggressive. You could go
True.
to level
True.
10. You're just not that human being, right?
Well, and see, to me, in my head, I'm like, well, what more am I capable of? What more can I do?
That's the way I want you to
I'm
go.
never focused on less than. Okay, well, that's
Be more
there's
than all
that.
day long. Be more than
And
all day long.
Rochelle, do you remember an Etch-a-Sketch?
Yes, I love them. They shake
Okay,
it when you get
now
mad, and it
Yeah.
does.
when you make a statement like you made previously, I'm just gonna go erase that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Well, and I mean, it's funny how certain quotes, certain statements and things can bring us into a different version of thinking, right? Because that helped me to not lessen myself. But now I've moved into an even further part of myself that I'm like, wait, but what about you would ever make you say that? And if you're too much for somebody, really, are they enough for themselves? That's where my brain goes, is maybe they need to realize how much they're worth for themselves, because nobody should be making themselves believe they are less than. And I'm pretty sure you work with people every single day that you're like, do you know who you are?
It's empowerment, right, Rochelle? That's what we all
Right.
do. And it's the most important piece, right? And I had no confidence when I started. I don't know about you, but when I started in real estate in
Oh
2002,
no. Excuse my language, I was shitting bricks. The first few times that Kevin had me on the show, seeing my face and hearing my voice, I was like, what am I doing? Am I capable of this? And Kevin, he really just guided me through it. And he said, hey, like, really, what do you have to be afraid of? Let it be. And I don't know. I live through this because, like, getting
but
to learn from you, getting learned from Kevin and so many other people, I'm like, okay, all these lights are clicking every day.
you had to do it over and over. You started in your head and now you're in your
Yeah.
heart, right? And
Right.
people can hear when you
Exactly.
speak that you're speaking from your heart and your soul.
Yeah. And I
You,
show up a little differently.
she's changed
Very
so
much.
much in the last year. She's frightening. She,
Well,
I,
imagine another year.
she doesn't. She doesn't know yet what she's capable of. You see it. I see it. She don't. When she looks in the mirror, I don't think she necessarily believes it yet, but she will.
Absolutely. And yet, from the last time I was here, she believes it 100 million times more. Not as much as she needs to yet and should yet,
Yeah.
but 100 million times more.
Well, and that's why we're here, because not only do people get to come and learn from the podcast and watch me learn and live in real time as a 26-year-old in 2025, but also really it doesn't come down to what gender, age, or ethnicity that you are. You are capable of anything you put your mind to. And I'm so glad that you work with people every single day to say, hey, let's look at you, not what you believe to be a part of you.
Right. That's the
So
piece, right? And
beautiful.
and the more you support good people, the more they support the consumer.
True.
Unfortunately, we find that a lot of people who are aggressive or top salespeople aren't really the ones that care about people, and those are the ones I want to work with because they care about people. As long as they can get that across, people are going to always want to work with them before anybody else.
Yeah, it's like how I love working for Kevin.
I don't think you can tell me that you work for me anymore. Pretty soon I'm
Okay,
going to be
work
working
with
for
you.
you.
No. No, Kevin, this is all you. This wouldn't even be possible without you. And I promise that in 5,500 years, when you pass away, I'll keep it going.
Well,
Oh,
she will, and
yes.
she's made that promise to me, and she's gonna, because this conversational flair is so needed, and you are doing such a good job of making that point in making, you're helping people help themselves. You're not making them great salesmen or great real estate people or whatever. You're just opening the door and saying, here, you want to walk through there? You can. I'll help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you go through like Rochelle has, because you've opened the door, then you want to support others. You want to pay it forward and support others. That's the beauty of what you've set up here, right? Is the mentorship and paying it forward to other people, which is
that's a whole idea. And that's why we love you. And we like to have you on the show because you do so much. And I know, Rochelle, you've got to go, but would you do me a favor and take us out to break on your way out?
Yes. Well, thank you everybody for being here and happy Friday. Thank you for being with us through the week and thank you for supporting us. We're here with Ophir Adar with Real Momentum, and it's more than just business. He's teaching people like me and Kevin Try to come in and see yourself in the perspective of a mirror and love what is looking back at you. So thank you for being with us. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show and thank you for having me and take care. We absolutely love you.
Love you too. Thank you, Rochelle.
Of course. Thank you, Ophir, and we'll be in contact.
She's shocking. She's just amazingly shocking. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald and Ophir. Is it now? You help me. Is it Ophir Adar? Is it Ophir?
It is. It is.
Gotcha.
Ophir is a very popular Hebrew name. Ophir is less popular, but it's a city from the Bible.
Oh, okay. I thought I knew all the cities in the Bible, but apparently not.
The city of Ophir, it's full of gold.
Ooh. That's how you got to be where you are. You're full of gold.
Right? I'm full of something.
Well, but what you're doing, by the way, he is the CEO of Real Momentum. Go to realmomentum.com. Realmomentum.com. If I could read, that would be helpful in this job. But he helps people understand not only real estate and the training that you need to be a good real estate agent, but really you're teaching people sales skills and personal development and getting them to understand who they really are and not who somebody told them they were when they were 6 years old.
Yes. I mean, that's the most important piece, right? First of all, I don't think there's many people that have been taught how to be an entrepreneur in this world, right? Like, nope. We're taught how to be 9-to-5 employees, but we're not taught what type of mindset, what type of focus and intention does it take in order to be a successful entrepreneur. So, for me, it's not about that this is the most complicated thing that we're teaching people. It's a simple thing. It's just not easy. And when you have daily support and you're part of a group and you're part of a system and you're doing the things every single week that you need to be doing, you're building the habits for success, right?
Absolutely. And as you said, if you do anything consistently for 90 days, it'll become a habit.
And you'll get good at it.
Yeah. Well, and I get the biggest kick out of people that say, because cold calling and talking to people that you haven't ever talked to before is one of the hardest thing in sales to do.
Yes. I was petrified of it, by the way. I literally was petrified of door knocking or cold calling. First of all, I think there's a lot of ego involved, right?
Sure.
And anytime we, by the way, this is just general, like spiritual laws of the universe. When you take the chance to crush your ego, you gain spiritual energy, right?
Yep.
Crush your ego every chance that you get. And usually our ego is our obstacle, right? Puts obstacles up in front of us. So I think it's hugely important to be able to support people in the simplicity of these things and just show them that when you're doing these things, you will have the opportunity to succeed at the highest level. And so they actually attach to it very quickly and see the results immediately and see the difference in their business very quickly.
How do you get people to drop the illusion of failure?
Yeah. Beautiful question. The illusion of failure. The question is, what does failure mean? You've heard this before, I'm sure, that in baseball, if you hit 3 out of 10, you're a Hall of Famer, right?
Yep.
Well, in real estate, if you hit 1 out of 100, you're a Hall of Famer.
It's so true.
But nobody's taught them that. So they're looking at everything as failure, 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 failure. I don't have any success, versus this is all part of a process. And actually, I'm getting tremendous amount of success if I'm getting one good conversation. And so it's just a matter of how you're looking at it, how you're framing it. And when you see the way to frame it the right way, and you see the results that you're getting, then you're excited about it, versus like, oh my God, another person hung up on me.
and that's what happens is you get your dauber down, as it were. Another person said no.
Yeah, it's all about me. It's all about how they're affecting me. That's what see, when you're feeling that, it's about how they're affecting you. That's not sales.
Yep. No, that's generating failure is what that's doing.
Yeah, and that's selfishness too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're worried about how everyone's affecting you when your job is to support them with the sales, then you're not supporting them the right way.
Well, and I know that in your work with Real Momentum, you teach these people that, well, you tell me.
Yeah.
I imagine that you teach these people that you are, as a salesperson, you're not a salesperson. You are somebody who's going to help somebody fulfill their dreams.
You're a questioner versus a teller, right? Yes. And that's one of the biggest mistakes people make, is they think that sales is about telling people. And when you understand the simple formula of asking questions and digging deeper and holding space for them, then you're allowing them to figure things out, and you're supporting them in that, versus just being a teller, right? And the goal is to support people with their needs.
I got the biggest kick out of when I was a district sales manager. I had 11 sales guys that worked for me, and several of them were, when I would go on a cold call with them, and what they were so focused on, they were laser focused on why they should buy from my company, what my company can do for them, how it's going to be good for them, and so forth, that they're not even listening to what the chef or the owner is saying to them in regards to what they really, really want from a sales, from a food delivery company.
That's across the board. That's sales across the board, is they're not listening, right?
Yeah.
And when you actually take the time to ask and listen, not only do you build rapport, which gets you the business, right?
Yep.
But you also actually are supporting them the right way. I mean, it amazes me in real estate sales that people find out about taking a listing, but they don't know what they're going to do with the money once they sell it. How can you support them if you don't know the entire overall picture? Versus, I just want to get your listing so that I can get a commission. I need to know your whole story so that I can support you with the entire process.
Exactly. I had a good, when I sold my house, I had a really good salesperson. And so the other thing that generates is the next time I needed to sell my house, I asked him, would you work with me again? Because
Right.
he was a good role model and stuff. And that isn't that how you build a huge business, is from referrals. And other people said, I don't know, this guy did great work for me, he'll do great work for you too.
Absolutely. It's funny. I laugh because I don't know if you had this experience, but I want my agents to be calling their sphere, their past clients every 90 days, because life is life, out of sight, out of mind. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that they don't care about you. It's that your job is to stay in front of them. So my job as an agent is not only to support you in what your real estate needs are, Kevin, but anybody so I can build a referral business.
Oh, exactly. And you don't know somebody until you've spent some time with them and understand their story.
Yeah, and I don't know if I ever do a deal with you, you can still refer me 5 deals and never
Yeah.
do a deal with me, right?
Yeah, exactly. It may not be the right time. I may not be going to sell my house, but I know this other guy that is. And
Yes.
because he's a good friend of mine and I trust, I don't want to send him somebody that I don't like, or
That's
hasn't
going to
done
take
anything.
advantage of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of those things play into it. I got to ask you, how do you
Yeah.
how do you make somebody more personable and able to go have those conversations and make the people they're talking to feel comfortable and not feel attacked?
It's such a beautiful thing that you just said, because it's the basis of neuro linguistic programming. What we teach in our scripts and our conversations is we never engage in negative conversation with somebody. We never negate them, right? We repeat and affirm what they say, and we ask them questions, and that's how you build rapport with people, is by finding out what their real needs are, is by repeating and letting them know that you've heard what they're saying, and focusing on what their overall goals are. So we teach people every morning. We do role play. I mean, we literally teach people how to handle scripts, how to handle objection handling, how to repeat and affirm what people are saying. And so we really encourage them and teach them how to have fruitful, amazing conversations without ever getting into negative speak.
Exactly. And oh, by the way, I need to bring this up because I think the housing market and the real estate market is changing a bit. It used to be what was it, 2-3 years ago,
Yeah.
that you give somebody your business card and you sell a house for, above asking, and you have a listing and you've got 5 people that are on your doorstep. Can I buy this house? Oh, can I buy this house? I'll pay more than he is. Them's days are gone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important, Kevin, to know what the market is, right? And where the market's headed. Because how can you give people advice if you're not talking to them about not just where it is now, but where it's headed? I believe that I know, first of all, we're in year 15 of a 7 to 10 year cycle historically. So are we going to go up or are we going to go down? Right? We're going down, and we're already headed in that direction. And so there will be a lot of opportunity. You just need to be aware of what's going on in the marketplace. And by the way, I mean, answer me this, Kevin. Am I doing a seller a service or a disservice if I let them overprice their property in a downward trending market?
Oh, my son there's a house on his block that they wanted money that they could have gotten 2 years ago, that they want it now. And that house has been for sale for 8 months. And now, now there's a new sign there that says new lower price.
Improved.
Yeah. Exactly. Because, you are doing them a disservice, to answer your question. Yes.
Huge. And people need to realize that, right? Like you're going to lose money. But if I don't have a real conversation, and that's what I teach people, if I don't have a real conversation with you, how the heck are you supposed to know that? If every agent's just telling you what you want to hear, then how the heck are you supposed to know what's real and what's coming and what you should be aware of?
And so it's important for the real estate person to be up and functional on what's happening in the market today.
So we not only talk about what's happening today, but I give them articles about where the market's headed to share with their clients. I break it down for them about where the market's headed, about how much we can expect to see the market go down. It's really important to be knowledgeable about your industry, right?
Oh, and I wanted to ask you this because I was watching a news program and they were talking about Florida. And they
Right.
were saying that there are mid-level houses in Florida that people had gone in and they'd bought in 5 or 6 or 7, and they were then renting them out. And but
Yes.
the mortgages were high enough that they needed to get a certain amount out of the rental or they would lose money.
Yes.
And they cannot get that money because the market has gone down. And so now they're operating at a loss, and they can't. How long can you pay the mortgage, have the house be empty because you can't sell it or you can't rent it? So that whole marketplace, do you think that it's in trouble?
Oh, massively. I mean, first of all, the commercial world is in much worse trouble than the residential world because of all the, office need that has gone away, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they've got to be repurposed. They got to figure out what to do. So the commercial world has shifted, and we've also seen a big shift in this is what we call the mom and pops, right? The investors, the mom and pop investors who own 1 or 2 properties versus the, corporate investors who own a portfolio of properties. They can't live when the market shifts and they start losing money. How long can they hold on to that for? It's a very stressful scenario when they start to lose money, which happens when the market shifts.
And sometimes it takes years for the market to recover where it was. So you could be underwater for a long time.
The script that I have with people right now that I tell them is, Kevin, if you don't sell now, are you okay with holding on to the property for 5 to 7 years? Because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you're waiting for it to come back to this place, it's going to be 5 to 7 years.
Well, and with interest rates being where they are, it's really expensive. My son would love to upgrade. He's got the financial ability to do it, but his mortgage is at 3% because he got it at the right time.
Yeah.
And now any house that he would get is going to be 7+.
Yes. And that's a problem, right? That's one of the reasons we're not seeing a lot of inventory turnover right now. So there's a huge shortage of inventory.
Yeah.
Because all these 3%ers are not, why would I go into a 2% into a 7%, right?
Oh, exactly. And then you got the other folks, like I have a relative, she's a little older. They live in their house. They have for 30 years. They still have a mortgage, but the mortgage is smaller than any apartment that they could get that would have like a 2-bedroom or something like that. So now they're stuck. They can't move out of where they live because they can't afford to rent something that's going to cost $500 or $600 more than what they're paying.
Right.
Because they're on a fixed income.
I get it. And, this is why, it's good. It's really important for anybody to have a consultation, right, with a good real estate agent who knows what they're doing, because they can talk to you about, listen, there's all sorts of options and possibilities in real estate when you get a good agent. There's creative things. And when we shift in the marketplace, creative deals are everywhere, right? So there's a lot of different things you can do. It's case by case scenario. And at the same time, you need to be talking to people to be able to help them with that, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If I'm not talking to you, you're not reaching out to me going, hey, I've got a problem right now. I'm underwater. No, people aren't reaching out and saying that.
No.
They're putting their head in the sand, right?
Well, because it's more comfortable.
I call it the ostrich syndrome, because that way you don't see the lion eat you from behind.
And especially if you're not the fastest guy in your little group.
Right.
We need to take a quick break, our last break, I promise. It's only 30 seconds, and we'll be right back with Ophir.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We're having a great conversation here. I encourage you to join us because this is, in the times that we live in, there's lots of minefields out there and stuff, and it really is. Your house can be the most important investment you'll ever make in your life. It really is important to have somebody who is talented, knows what they're doing, knows the ins and outs. And if you are somebody who wants to be in real estate, you need to work with somebody who can help you negotiate all those minefields, because there are many. And Ophir Adar, he's the CEO of Real Momentum, and realmomentum.com is his website. Go there, and how do they get a hold of you, my friend?
Yeah, did you know this, Kevin? Did you know that 80% of real estate agents fail in their first 2 years?
Yeah, I've heard that.
80%, and we have a 90% success ratio.
Holy mackerel, that's out of the ballpark.
Yeah, and usually 90% are making six figures and above. And so the way to reach out to me is on realmomentum.com. You can reach us on the website, or you can email me directly, Ophir, it's my name, OPHIR, at realmomentum.com. And I always get back to people. I really love supporting people. So if anybody wants to have a consultation, sit down with me one-on-one, I am always open to do that and talk to them about their business.
And by the way, he was featured on the CNN and the NBC.
Yeah, and I've also been a manager for the top real estate companies. I've been a manager for Keller Williams, for Coldwell Banker, and for Compass, Beverly Hills and Hollywood, right? Which is the two most successful offices in the country. And so I have been around for a long time, and I really believe that everybody, given the right support, should be able to succeed in real estate and helping people.
Well, I got to tell you a story, and it's a bit of a sad story, because when the market was going really well, I had a friend who was downsized, and he was a little over 60, and he went to work he studied real hard and got his real estate license. And then he went to work for I think it was Coldwell Banker or one of those guys. And the information that he got was, well, go to open houses. If you go to open houses and talk to a few people, then you're going to be wildly successful. And so he did that. And what he found out was everybody that was going to the open house already had an agent. And so it didn't work. And
didn't help, right?
It didn't help. And
what my manager told me? Just show up. That was my training.
Just be there, and somebody's going to walk up to you and say, "Hey, are you a real estate agent?"
Yeah, right. Especially when I was in the back room of our office. It's just, you don't know what you don't know. So, you want somebody that cares and wants to support you the right way. That's what you're looking for.
And that is a skill that can be taught.
No, absolutely. And it's got to come from a desire, right? A mission, what we call it, having a mission statement of helping people.
There are two types of salesmen. There's a professional salesman who's into it for the kill. You know that kind of guy, that he loves the chase, he loves the kill, but he doesn't really give a crap about the outcome.
Yes.
And whereas we've got people that care about that. That's why I no longer, and just a real quick story, no longer am in the food business, or wasn't at when I left there, because the way the food business works is you build relationships. Now, when you are going to a big restaurant that has lots of sales, and there are 3 food companies. In my case, it was Cisco, FSA, and Alliant Food Service. They line you up and they say, all right, what's your price? What's your price? What's your price? So you give them the best price you can. You don't make any money. You make low margins. And then your boss comes to you and says, you suck. You need to raise your margins. And so there's another restaurant. It's a mom and pop. Every time you come in, every week that you come in to take their order, mom says, oh, come have some soup. Sit and talk to us for a while. And so as you're taking their order, you talk to them and you talk about your kids, and they're interested in all the things you're doing and stuff. And then, so they trust you. There's not another food company in there to be found. Every time that another one comes in, they'll say, no, I'm sorry. We got the best food company in the world, the best salesman in the world, and we love our Kevin.
Yes.
People say that. And then your boss comes to you and says, well, if you can't raise the margins on the big restaurants, then you're going to have to do it on the mom and pops who trust you, that nobody else is in there, and they don't really know how much you should be charging for them. They're charging them. So you have to raise your prices on them. I couldn't do that after a period of time because I cared about them. And in some cases, they ended up being driven out of business because they couldn't afford to stay in business because the prices were too high.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. Yeah, I just want to share the difference, because you work for an employer, right?
Yep.
And we're independent contractors. So everybody in real estate should have taken your position, which is, I'm not going to do that, right?
Yeah.
That's as an employer, it's a lot harder. Employee, it's a lot harder.
Yep.
But as an independent contractor, you make the decisions, right?
So you can make, as a real estate person, you can make the conscious decision. I'm going to be service oriented. I'm going to give them the best I've got and give them the best information so that they can make the most intelligent decision, because this is a big deal.
Absolutely. And I'm going to support them all along the way, even if it's just giving them advice and helping them with stuff that they need. I mean, it will always come back in the end, right?
It always will. It always will. And young man, I want to thank you for being here. Ophir Adar has been our guest, and he's the CEO of Real Momentum. Go to realmomentum.com. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go, young man?
The only other thing I say, if you want to join us on School, we are on School as well. We have a lot of free training on School. So you just need to go to school, SKOOL.com/real-momentum, and you can join for free and have access to amazing training.
And then call him, because he is a wonderful guy to get to know. He's very uplifting. He's very powerful. He's very spiritual, and he knows NLP. We didn't talk enough about that. That is a really big deal, and I didn't know it when I was a sales guy. I wish I did. But,
well, we're going to talk about it next time I come on.
Yes, we will, because there is going to be a next time.
See, I just NLP'd you.
You what?
I just NLP'd you.
Oh,
I said next time we go on. I planted it.
You did, and I am committed to that. So thank you, young man.
I am so grateful to you, Kevin. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you too. Have yourself a wonderful day.
You too.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin